So for the last few days, drones have actually been one of the most important stories in the domestic United States of America, maybe even the world. And I have a running theory on what I think is actually going on here. Now, I haven't seen anyone actually posit this theory. That doesn't mean that somebody else didn't come up with it as well, or maybe you heard it. And if you did hear this, I would like you to tell me, but I haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to share it with you. And I do think I'm on to something, and I think it's something you should keep your eyes and ears opened for if this actually does end up happening. But before I share that theory with you, because this is getting serious now, because obviously there's a lack of communication. Clearly, the government knows more than they're telling us. They're not sharing information with local officials. Even federal officials aren't being told any information, but it's very obvious that more is known about this than what's being shared with us. And now it's starting to get serious because it's causing issues specifically at airports and security issues as well. I want to share a video with you and just a little bit of information. Then I'll share my theory with you, and you tell me what you think about it, if you think I might be onto something or if you think it's something else. But first, let's go ahead and check out this video. This is from News Nation. I think the information here about this is really important.
This started as some questions, and now it's reached a point of almost insanity. You think about a United States senator who has to go out with the local police to look for drones. That's where a United States senator is getting information. We had a briefing from the state police, the colonel in the state police. He was frustrated. He had no idea where these drones are coming from. Not only did I call for a limited state of emergency and the FAA shutting down the airspace for drones, but also having the Department of Defense come in and answer questions. If the Department of Defense doesn't know where the origins are for these so-called drones, then we're in trouble. We always thought that if there was something in the air the size of a car, that the Department of Defense would know where it came from, what its origin was, and what its purpose was. Now you have a United States senator going out with the local police, to look for fireworks at night? That is scary.
It is terrifying. Like Caitlin just reported, President-elect Trump is calling for government transparency, which you are as well. He's saying maybe shoot them down if we don't get any more information. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I would leave that up to the Department of Defense. But how can the Department of Defense not provide information to the public? This is a shock to me. I have a general belief in government, but this is taking me to the end of my belief that government is really being honest. Now, there's been some apparently top secret briefings, right, with Congress people. Now, they come out of that, and I heard Josh Gottheimer come in, the representative, and he said, well, I'm not getting a lot of information, but I don't think it's a threat. So my guess is there is information, but they're holding it back. And now what you have is panic. Originally some questions. Now you have serious concerns. And at the next point, somebody's going to do something stupid. So the Department of Defense has to come clean with the American public.
Okay, let me stop it right there. And this is going to lead to my theory on what I think is actually happening here. Now, this is starting to get serious. At first, it was a lot of people reporting this, and I know that there was probably likely people on both sides. But at this point, it's obviously it's not a game anymore. I mean, you have a state senator here and local police who have no clue what's going on. They've sent up their own investigative drones. They can't do anything about it. There's been reports that these drones even have the capability of shutting them down, or they don't even have heat signatures with them. These are drones that are well beyond the monetary and technological reach of pretty much every single United States citizen. Maybe there are some people who do have these capabilities. But what's really important here that he shared is that there are individuals at the federal level who are being brought in and briefed on this. Now, when they come out and you heard exactly what they're sharing, when they come out of these briefings, right? They don't come out in a panic. They don't come out exasperated. They're coming out and saying, well, there's not that much information, but I don't think that you should be concerned with this. So this is going to lead me to the theory here. I definitely believe that the government is behind this. Now, what branch of the government, what sub-branch of the government is behind it, that's still up for debate. But some part of the federal government is behind this. Now, the question would be, why would the government be doing this? And this is what I think is happening right now. I think our government believes that drone warfare is going to be the thing where we are the most vulnerable right now. And they believe that because we're vulnerable in drone warfare, meaning we can have countries like China or Russia or other countries with these capabilities that can bring drones over here and fly them in our airspace, our government believes that they do not have enough authority and jurisdiction right now to eliminate those threats, or at least that's the way that they're going to present it, because I don't even know if that's entirely true. And so what they did is they came up with a plan to show the states how ill-equipped they really are to deal with a problem like this. And I believe that this was planned over time. Now, most likely you would want to get something like this through a Joe Biden presidency. A Donald Trump presidency is going to be a lot more difficult to do it, because obviously the government's going to want power out of this. They put fear in people. They put fear in the states. They put fear in senators, put fear in local law officers. And then they say, see this? You need us to help you. And if you want us to help you, we're going to need power. And we're going to need you to legislate that power to us to be able to take care of this. You remember after 9/11, when now they start phone tapping the entire country, all different people, we're going after terrorism, right? But now they're listening in on everybody, that they wanted power. And I think the government orchestrated this in order to say, you're vulnerable. See how vulnerable you are? You didn't think you were that vulnerable. And they picked this target, they picked this location, they picked this time specifically to try to go ahead and push this. Now, are they ever going to come out and share all of this? I highly doubt it. I think ultimately they're going to try to pin it on citizens. They're going to try to pin it on very rich kids who have been given money from, the past generations, or whatever they're going to pin it on, right? That really doesn't matter where they put the focus, but they're behind it. And I think what you need to keep your eyes and ears open for is more legislative decisions in which more power is given over to the federal government, or at least branches of the federal government, to have a greater jurisdiction over airspace, things that are in the air or anything like that. And ultimately, that's obviously going to take away freedom from the people. But I think the government's doing this because they want that power, whether or not they actually need it, whether or not they don't already have the jurisdiction. But I believe, to me, this makes the most sense, especially hearing that it's coming off of the ocean. 50 of them are coming off of the water, that they're not worried about it, that they're saying, no, it's not another country out there. Because if they said it was another country out there, then there would be like, well, what are you guys going to do about this? They can't play that. Now, there are some people coming out saying that it's an Iran mothership or something like that, but the people in the know are going to have to come out and say, no, that's not what it is. Everything's okay. And then they get out of the briefing. They've been brainwashed in the briefing. Oh, everything. Yeah, I think everything's okay. Don't worry about it. Do you think this is in the right direction, or do you think it's something else? Do you think that it is, in fact, another country out there that's doing this? Do you believe that it has nothing to do with the government? I would love to know your thoughts on this. Obviously, right now, these are just ideas, and maybe these are the beginnings of what's really happening. Maybe this is exactly what's happening. I'd love to hear from you guys. Go ahead and leave your comments below. I'll catch you in the next one.